What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another adventure here at the Outpost. In honor of Uncharted coming out this past weekend, I thought today's adventure would be fun to go through and rank every video game adaptation that has come out that I have personally seen. There's only 2 or 3 of them that I actually haven't seen, so mostly we're going to get to all of them here today. We're just going to dive right into it because who the fuck needs a long, lengthy intro to sit through? I don't, you don't. We got shit to do. Let's just get on with it. But coming in at dead last should probably surprise nobody, and that is the original Super Mario Brothers movie. It's incredibly entertaining to watch. It's really fucking silly. It's easily watchable. It's just god-awful garbage. It's not a great movie. It's a terrible movie. It's one of those guilty pleasure, dumb as shit movies to watch, but it is absolutely god-awful. And coming in hot on its heels is another really hot trash movie. Is one of the newer released video game movie adaptations coming out last year. It is Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. It's astounding that a movie that wanted to go back to the basics and really sink into all the stuff that you would love from the classic Resident Evil game would end up being worse than all of the other Resident Evil movies. But here we are. It's just it's boring. It's not fun. It's same as the Resident Evil movies. It's just nonsensical. It's just they try to shoehorn too much nonsense shit in, and trying also to shoehorn too many of the actual characters throughout the game series in. That for a movie called Resident Evil, there's really only like 1 or 2 like actual people that you see get murked and murdered. Like everyone on this cover fucking survives this movie. It's like it's crap. It sucks. I was very disappointed. Just like, how hard is it to just, if you want to make a Resident Evil movie, just make the first game. Like, don't shoe in all this other shit. Like, literally just remake the first game. I don't understand. It's garbage. The next 2 we're just going to loop in together because I don't own them, so I can't show them. And they're pretty much spot on with how fucking terrible they are. And that is Resident Evil: The Final Chapter and Resident Evil: Retribution. They're just god awful. They're kind of the same like Super Mario Brothers. It's like, it's entertaining, and that's the only reason it's higher than Welcome to Raccoon City, is because it's at least entertaining and how fucking stupid it is. But they're really just terrible movies. And they're just bad. It sucks. There's nothing like redeeming about any of them. Coming up after that is the second Silent Hill movie, Silent Hill Revelations, I believe it is called. It's another one I don't have here in the collection, so you're just going to have to take my talking. I don't have anything cool to show you with it. It's another movie. It's terrible. It's not good. I mean, at least it's got Sean Bean. Jon Snow tries to do what he can in that movie, but that's a movie that's beyond saving. You know what you're getting into when you go to see Silent Hill Revelations. I only saw it once back when it came out, when Hurricane Sandy hit us here, and we didn't have power for like 2 weeks or anything, so I would just go hang out at the movies all day and watch movies because they had power. And you could tell I was really getting to the bottom of the barrel when that was one of the movies that I would sit in and watch, was Silent Hill Revelations. And it was bad. Next up is another Resident Evil movie. It's Afterlife. These last like, it's just like, after the first one, like, they're all nonsense, but I feel like especially with 4, 5, and 6, with like Afterlife, Retribution, and the Final Chapter, it just takes on another level of stupidity that just like, it's fun to watch because you're just like, I can't believe how crappy these are. It's hilarious, but that's one of them. It's just so fucking terrible. It's terrible. Besides watching it while you're having some beers or you're stoned with your friends, there's really nothing to get out of those movies. We finally have another movie again to show off, and that next is the first Silent Hill. This is also, it's not great. It's got Sean Bean, it's got Rodham Mitchell, but it's I mean, I never played the video game for Silent Hill, so I can't really attest to how it does so much video game adaptation wise. But just as a standalone movie, it's all over the place. It's not fun. It's not particularly scary, really, either at any point either. It's just kind of like, it's boring. And that, I think, is a worse sin than anything, is to just end up being boring. Next up, we have Max Payne. This is another video game I've never played. But anytime you're trying to do something serious and you're putting Mark Wahlberg in it, it's going to be a surefire miss. He's just better in comedies. He's a comedy guy. He's not an action guy. I mean, he can do action. He's huge, but like, it's just not great. This movie, I only saw it once when it first came out, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. And I have literally no interest to go back and rewatch it at any point. Maybe one day, but that day will not be today because this is just bad, 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 bad. After that is a movie that I was super excited to finally see get a video game adaptation because the video game series is one of my favorite video games, and that is Assassin's Creed. I don't have the movie because, as you can tell, that movie disappointed the absolute fucking shit out of me. I was so disappointed with that. I was pumped. In the beginning, they had me. Michael Fassbender in it. Yeah, I'm in. Let's go. I was all set for it. And then it was just really, really bad. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. There's no way. Those video games were so massive that there's just no way, I feel like, to make a good movie. I mean, I'm sure there is, that like you can make a good movie out of that. It's just going to be really tough, I feel like. And with the type of people that they bring in to do video game adaptations, I just don't think they have the right people to pull off what it needs to be a good movie. Maybe a TV series, but I don't know. I don't have hope. I don't have hope. Next up is the never-ending series of Resident Evil. That is Resident Evil Extinction. This is the last Resident Evil movie that I saw actually in theaters and didn't just wait until it was out. I think this came out, when did this come out? 2007, I want to say. I think I was a senior in high school. It's not great. It's better than some of the other ones, I think, simply just because the desert aesthetic gives it a little bit of a unique flavor to it. It has a few like decent moments. I remember being fucking pumped as shit that Odette Fahir was showing up in these movies, the dude from The Mummy, because I freaking loved him when I was a kid. I thought he was a great actor. It's not terrible. It has its moments. It definitely was getting to the point where it was really going off the rails, but it's not as worse as some of the other ones. After that is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It was another just silly as shit movie. It always cracks me up that they were like so invested in making movies off of games like that, where there's literally really no plot in the game besides just like there's a tournament and you're fucking people up in the tournament. Like that in Street Fighter. Like it blows my mind that somebody saw that and they were like, we need to make a movie out of this. It's like, why? And then this movie shows why you shouldn't, because it's fucking stupid. It's not great. I mean, at least the first one is like tongue-in-cheek hilarious, where this one is just like bad. And then coming hot off the heels of that, just like we said, is Street Fighter. This is another one. It's just like, who was playing Street Fighter? It was like, this should be a movie, because they're a moron. I mean, I'm glad this movie exists because it's downright fucking hilariously stupid. I just watched this one the other night before making this video, because I just got this and was like, I should watch this for this video. It is dumb as shit, but it is absolutely hilarious. This is a perfect just like get high or drunk and shit on it with your friends movie. It's that funny. Fucking Ming-Na Hua showing up. This woman does not age. It's amazing. Like whatever she's drinking, pass it around because the rest of us need it. Or Ming-Na Wen. I said Ming-Na Hua. It's terrible. Excuse my horrible butchery. Oh, and it's got something written on the bottom there. Look at that. This is a great steelbook. Terrible movie, but great steelbook. Following off of that is Monster Hunter. This is one. It's not great. I mean, but what it has going for it is that it doesn't take itself seriously. So you're getting some decent kills in it, some cool like monster visuals. My favorite part of the movie is when she gets picked up by Ron Perlman's like roving band of guys, and like there's just like an anthropomorphic cat just like making coffee. It's shit like that. That got me in this movie. I was like, that made this movie worth watching. It's not terrible. I never played the video game, so there's another one that I have no idea. But as a standalone movie on its own, it's not terrible. It's watchable. It's pretty fucking stupid, but it has its moments. So it definitely is leagues above most of the trash that we've already gone through here. And then going back to our fighting games, we have the newest Mortal Kombat 2021. This rests comfortably in the middle of the pack simply because the fight scenes are pretty fucking graphic and dope. They're pretty dope in there, and it's got Hiroki Sanada. I'm sure I butchered that and didn't pronounce that right, but he's an Asian actor that I fucking love. He's been in so much stuff, like 47 Ronin, Lost. He's one of those guys. Last Samurai. Every time he turns up, I'm like, dude, that guy's just got fucking presence, man. He's awesome. So that definitely helped put this up and above other movies. The story is fucking dumb as shit, which you would expect. I mean, there's no way to make a good story out of this. It's just not possible. But I think the dumbest thing this movie did is that it's a movie called Mortal Kombat, which is about a tournament called Mortal Kombat. Only the tournament never fucking happens in the movies. It's just like, what the fuck? It's stupid ass movies. Finally, slinging it down almost to the bottom. We're almost out of there. Resident Evil Apocalypse. This movie's got a little bit of soft side for me simply because it came out when I was like 15. So of course, like stupid ass 15 TJ who knew nothing about movies was like all the rage on this. I've watched it recently. It's pretty terrible. But then again, most of the video game with the exception of like maybe 3 movies in this list, all of these are pretty terrible. It's just levels of schlock that you can enjoy off of it. And this has a bunch of schlock in it that I can enjoy because it's just like really silly shit in there between like Mike Epps and the terrible looking fucking Nemesis, and it's just really silly. So it's like it like works with a bit of nostalgia and just loving watching shitty movies sometimes that this hits at this level for me compared to the rest of these movies. And then same way, schlocky as shit, but you know, it's got some moments that I enjoy from it. That is the Hitman. It's mostly done to Timothy Olyphant. This guy, he's the man. I could fucking watch him in anything. He's a great fucking actor. And even though he's saddled with some nonsense in this movie, it was still enjoyable to watch simply because he's in it. I've only seen it like twice, and that's more than enough times for me. But it's got its moments. This one is not as bad as most of the other movies on this list. And then next after that is the newest Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander. It's not great. It definitely has its moments. It's what keeps it together and watchable, at least, is her performance. She's great. I can watch her in anything. She's just a phenomenal actress, and she makes do with what she's got in that movie. It's the problem is it's a story, which I mean I guess is the running theme with most of this stuff, is that it's just like, how do you make a good story out of these nonsensical things? Like they work well in video game format, but sometimes when you're trying to translate, it just doesn't work. And I think with Tomb Raider, I think the issue is that you're just changing nonsense for no reason. Like, why don't you just adapt like literally one of the video games? Like they're really good, a lot of them, like the newer ones. It's like, why wouldn't you just adapt one of those? But what are you gonna do? The last of our fighting movies come in with the original Mortal Kombat. This one is another one. Absolutely silly ass storyline, but at least this has the perfect amount of like 90s cheese to it that makes it super entertaining to watch. I love the 90s practical effect work with it. It's just the right amount of silly as shit. This is just one of those movies that it works simply because it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it hit right in that sweet spot of the 90s where they were just making any nonsensical thing they could think of. So like it works for me. Placing right next to each other, so I'm just going to show them together. That is Lara Croft Tomb Raider and Lara Croft Tomb Raider The Cradle of Life. These movies are pretty much on par with each other for me. They're another ones that are dumb as shit. They don't really have any good storyline to them, but she is great as Lara Croft. She has a great collection of supporting actors in each one of these. One of them's got Gerard Butler, one of them's got Daniel Craig. So it has its moments. It's a low-rent Indiana Jones. But for what it was when they made these, like, it's not, the CGI in some of them are fucking terrible, but they're fine. They're not terrible. Finally coming in at the spot, you were wondering where it's going to happen, and it is happening right here, is the newest video game adaptation, Uncharted. It's it's fine. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. It's one of those movies that's just kind of all over the place with that has like one or two good action moments that are supposed to like sustain you for the rest of like the dumbass movie. It's horribly miscast. Like I get it, Tom Holland, he's the new it kid right now. Like everybody wants a piece of him, but he's just not well casted as Nathan Drake. And I think that's mostly due to the fact that they want to like, I guess like you want to get a younger guy so that way you can make a franchise out of this and you could have him play it for a few years. Like he's the way, like he's not great as Nathan Drake, but like I can forgive his casting for it because I get why they would do that. The one that's worse off is getting Mark Wahlberg as Sully because that's just one, like normally it should be his bread and butter is because like he's much better in a comedy type role than like straight action, but like just the character and the way they have him playing it is just fucking terrible. Their banter, every time they start bantering, is just brutal. Like it's not funny, it's not fun, it's tiring. They're just like not cast well together. They should have got somebody much surlier to play that role. The action's all over the place. The movie that opens up just dumb. Just it never gets off to the races, and then it slows down. So I could see why they opened with a portion of the helicopter scene is because then like the next hour and a half of the movie is so slowly paced that like they probably needed that bump in the beginning to keep people going. But it's a movie that's all over the place. It has its moments. The helicopter scene on the cargo plane scene is pretty awesome. It's got its moments, even though like there's some parts where like when he's hanging on to the cargo crates like outside the cargo plane and he's like jumping to each one, it is the worst uncanny valley you've ever seen because it's like human physics just don't work like that and I can't fucking stand it. But other than that, it's good. And then the ending scene with the two ships like flying and hitting into each other, it's fine. It's at least unique, so I'll give them points for that. But it's one of those movies. It's up this high simply because like obviously the rest of these movies are like simply garbage. So like all you have to do is literally put on like the bare minimum and you'll beat most of these movies. But it's definitely not great. I'm not looking forward to there being a second one if there ends up being one. So that's all I got to say about that. Next up is a movie that I loved as a kid. I watched it recently and I was like, this movie is dumb as shit, but it's still pretty fucking entertaining. And that is Doom, The Rock, Carl Urban. It's a solid movie. It's not great. Again, I've never played Doom, so I couldn't really tell you like how it is as a video game adaptation, but simply on its own as a movie, it's fine. It's very cliche ridden and just follows the tropes of what you'd expect from a movie like this. It's like a low rent Alien, but it's fine for what it is. Like it wasn't trying to like reinvent the wheel. I think the best thing it has going for it is like that last 15-20 minutes where it goes into like the first person shooter thing. It's very gimmicky, but the fact that like no other movie's really done that since or anything lets this movie feel very unique with it, and it doesn't feel so much gimmicky anymore because it's like this was the only movie that ever tried doing something like that. So it's at least got itself like a little unique perspective in there compared with the other video game movies that we've got here. Next up is Warcraft. This is a fine movie. It's got a lot of decent like fine parts in it. I think the special effects and everything for the most part like hold up. They look pretty good. I saw this movie in theaters. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world. It wasn't the best. It was just simply a movie I saw. I've never played Warcraft, so obviously like I don't really have a connection to the video game material. Like some people, I could see probably people who played Warcraft were probably like, fuck this movie. But for me who hasn't seen it or anything, was just watching basically on this movie, it's fine. It's not terrible. It's better than most of the other ones. It's not great, but I wasn't like, it didn't end, and I was like, God, I just wasted 2 hours of my life. So it was fine. That's where we are right now in these collection of movies. It's the ones right now where it's like, I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I didn't feel like I wasted my time. And continuing with that theme is Rampage with The Rock. I think the best thing this movie has going for it is that it doesn't take itself seriously, so it just like feels free to be dumb as shit. So that's fine. This was right before The Rock really started to venture into the like self-parodying stage of his career now, where he's just like, every time he shows up and everything, he's like, he's making the same fucking movie over and over again. So this one's fine. I mean, the special effects in it are pretty solid. I like this steelbook, looks great with that alligator back there. It's really tongue-in-cheek and really silly and stupid, but it's supposed to be. It's a movie based on genetically modified giant creatures that just destroy cities and eat people. So, like, for whatever movie and story you were going to get out of that, this is as best as we're probably going to get it. So take with it what you will. We're finally hitting it, the first Resident Evil. It's crazy to believe that this is probably the best Resident Evil movie we're ever going to get. It's better than it has any right to be, even with everything that it changed from the video game, the first video game at least. At least it's trying. It's got a lot of solid moments. It's fun. It's entertaining. There are some spooky parts. There are some spooky parts to it. Mia Jovovich is good in it. Michelle Rodriguez also good in it. It's got its moments. It's better than it has any right being, and it's better than any other Resident Evil movie we've seen. So until the day that they finally make one that gets it right, this will stay the de facto champion. We're getting into our top 4, right? Resident Evil was number 5. Now we're up to number 4. This one might upset some people. Again, I've never played the video game, so I can't tell you how it is from a straight video game adaptation. I can only tell you how it is based on the movie. I know it seems another one where it's a particular case of whitewashing, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, you're gonna get you're gonna get a big name actor if you can, and if somebody like Jake Gyllenhaal wants to be in your movie, you're gonna get him regardless of like you'd be like, all right, some unknown Indian actor that no one's ever heard of, and this movie will bomb, or Jake Gyllenhaal, and the movie will still bomb, but not as badly. You're gonna go for Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, come on, let's be real here. At least they got Ben Kingsley, so like that, little better. It's not great, but it's better. This movie entertains the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see it in theaters. I only saw it when it finally came out. Again, I never played the video game, so I don't know. But like, it was just entertaining. It was just like a really like dumb version. Again, I feel like every adventure movie like this Tomb Raider, Uncharted, all those, they're just like trying to play Indiana Jones, but with like different settings. And this one, it's not great, but it does what it does. It has its moments. It's fun. It's fast paced. It's not boring. So as far as like video game movies that I'm watching, like I never expect any of them to like actually be like phenomenal, but this is as close to entertained as I could hope for a Prince of Persia movie. So it was good. And Jake Gyllenhaal, man, he's solid. Look at that. He's a great looking fucking guy right there. Like, yeah, he's not fucking Persian, but I mean, are there that many like good Persian actors out there like that are gonna be like box office money? I don't think so. I don't know. This movie didn't even make any money, I don't think. What are you gonna do? Gemma Arterton, she's not Persian. Alfred Molina, he's not Persian. I don't even think Ben Kingsley's Persian. I think the closest he is Indian, right? And English. I don't know. There's no winning. There's no winning in a Prince of Persia movie, I think. Moving on. This is another movie that might upset people being this high, but I was thoroughly entertained by this movie. This is a movie that I feel like story-wise compared to the video game is as best as you're going to do it. And I was thoroughly entertained and enjoyed. Like, all I need out of a video game adaptation is to be entertained. Like, I don't want you to take it seriously. I don't want you to try and make like an award-winning movie, because it's not. I want to be replicated what it feels like to play the video game. When you're playing a video game, it's just fun. I'm not looking for award-winning material. I just want to be entertained. And Need for Speed will fucking entertain you. This movie is silly. The plot is silly as shit. Everything in it is silly as shit, but it's great. I love movies that are silly as shit, but the main characters play it like it's the straightest fucking thing alive. So that really like helped me with this movie. It's just fun. It's just an entertaining, fun movie that you just turn your brain off and just enjoy, which is really what you want from a Need for Speed movie. Like, I'm not going into a Need for Speed movie being like, they got to get the lore right. It's got to be like great fucking writing, great acting. This is garbage. Just entertained me, and this movie entertained me, so that's a win right there. That puts it leagues above all the rest of these movies. Oh, and now we're up to the top 2. These are the only movies that I'd probably like would go back to anytime really to watch. I mean, like, they're for what they are, they're just fun. Fun movies. That's what we want out of our video game adaptations. We want fun movies. So number 2 is Sonic the Hedgehog. It's amazing that this movie got to be number 2, because if they had stuck with the original design for Sonic, this movie would have burned on impact very, very quickly. So it's a good thing they got that right, because it's not even like the story is that great. It's kind of like very like cliched and derivative and like a very normal story, but like the Ben Platt? No, Ben Platt. I don't know what his name is. From fucking Parks and Rec, who plays Sonic. He nailed down the mannerisms and voice cadence of Sonic really well, to give him that like energetic boost to him. Jim Carrey, it was a fucking inspired choice to play Dr. Robotnik. Just let him fucking ham it up as much as possible, because that's what you need. This is a movie that should be as hammy as possible. I think the thing that drags it down the most is most of the human characters, like James Marsden and his girlfriend. Like, there's just really no need for them at all. And I really like that in the second one, they're just doubling down on all the insanity by introducing the emeralds and tails and knuckles and all that, because we want that. I want that crazy Sonic shit. I don't give a crap about human development outside of Dr. Robotnik. But this is way better than it had any right being, and was such a great surprise when it came out. But there can only be one, and it is one that I never would have thought would have been one. It was one that I didn't even think had a chance of even being good. But it surprised the absolute fucking hell out of me, and that is Detective Pikachu. I didn't know that we needed live action Pokemon movies in our life, but we do now. This movie was great. I was very cautious when they announced Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, but it works. It fucking works. This movie works. Seeing all the live action Pokemon is incredible. Having grown up on Pokemon, like, give us an actual like remake, like the Pokemon TV show with Ash Ketchum. I need an Ash Ketchum live action Pokemon movie, like, stat. It needs to happen. And now that it showed that like we can make realistic looking Pokemon in live action, like, it's gotta happen. It would be fucking great. Do it now. It needs to happen. I want it. We all want it. Give it to us. We need more Pokemon movies. And that's the list. Outside of, Pikachu, Sonic, and probably Need for Speed, I wouldn't really rewatch any of these movies. I've seen most of them once, and that is more than enough for me. Even Sonic, I've only seen the one time, but it was really good, so that's why it gets up to number 2. But really, those top 3 movies are really the only ones that I would go back to again if somebody was like, let's watch a video game movie. We still got a long ways to go to actually get like a really, really good one. I don't know if it'll ever happen. We always remain cautiously optimistic whenever one comes out, and every time one comes out, everyone's like, this might be the one to do it. And then it never is. So we got a ways to go. I'd love to see a Gears of War one with Dave Bautista as Marcus. I don't think that'll ever happen or even be good. But again, I don't need it to be like Academy Award winning good. Like, I just need it to be entertaining. And really, what all they need to do is just remake the first Gears of War movie game into a movie. Like, it could be shot for shot, and I would be totally okay with that. Like, bring in Rom and do all that stuff, and I would be like, that's all I fucking need, man. Like, I just want to see the video game story that I played in cinematic format. Like, that's all we want out of video game movies, really. Same thing with Call of Duty. I would love a Call of Duty movie, but they should just make the 3 Modern Warfare games into movies, like literally just shot for shot cinematic movies, because that second Modern Warfare game where like the USA gets invaded and they're like storming the White House and everything is in cinematic format would be fucking incredible. And they should just do that. Don't be like, we're gonna make a Call of Duty movie and then just make your own Call of Duty story. Like, I don't want it. We don't want to see it. We want to see the video games brought to life. That's what we want. So hopefully, like, one day we get there. There's definitely a lot of progress still to be made, but it's hopeful. It's getting better. We're definitely getting better ones than we ever have before in like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So it remains to remain hopeful out there, people. We might finally get a good one day. But until next time, that'll do it for us here at The Outpost. That's all I got for you today. Until next time, you have been you. I have been me. These are the movies. And I'll see you next time.